say something to like my dad or something like that. Because
how was she get in touch with him?
Because apparently when I was in Cornerstone, my dad told her, because he had like hacked my computer or something like that, and then he found everything.
Electronics guy like you and your brother?
Except he's more of that like hacking level, like able to do all that stuff. So he had found, you know, like just the stuff that was related to her, and then, you know, he erased my whole entire computer. He put a password on it, so it's like even when I came back up until Thursday, like I wasn't able to go onto my own computer to look at anything.
Basically, he's treating you like a small child.
Right, and rightfully so. I mean, spending that amount of money, I was acting childish. I can kind of get it.
Grant is fully aware that what he's done is wrong. He knows that he should feel that way to not look like the bad guy to these detectives, but Grant doesn't really care that what he's doing is wrong because he's an addict. He has to find a way to get his fix, and eventually, Chad finds out that Grant has been talking to Sylvie, and according to Grant, he kicks him out of the house. Grant told the detectives that Chad told him that if he ever set foot on their property again, he would kill him. During his interview, his first version of events has him leaving the house between 9 and 9:30 p.m.
So I left, and then...
What time do you think you left about?
Oh, God.
If it's 6:30, the argument started, how long do you think before you left?
I'd say like 9 or 9:30 or so.
Then he continues to tell detectives that he drove down the road and waited on the side of the road until Cody got home at about 9:30. Cody pulled up next to him, and Grant told him that he was going to be somewhere nearby, and according to Grant, Cody gave him his debit card to use to survive. After Cody drove off, Grant said that he stayed in the same spot for a couple of hours, just in case anything happened, they knew where he was. The reason for that was because his cell phone had been turned off by Chad, so he didn't have any means of communication. Then he drove to a nearby Publix grocery store and parked next to the building, and he claims that he slept in his car. The following morning, he woke up, changed into a suit, and drove to an interview he had at Express Scripts, which is a prescription drug management company. His interview was at 10 a.m., and afterwards he went to a Verizon wireless store to try to get his phone turned back on. They told him that they couldn't help him because the account was in his father's name. He then tells detectives that he thought about going back to his house, but only drove down the road in his neighborhood and changed his mind. He went a few other places, got some food at Panera, and went to get a room at the Doubletree Hotel. The detectives brought up how he was paying for things, and Cody's debit card came up again.
I had used Cody's card to pay for one of my bills that was outstanding. It was just one of those from that site. It was just like a bill that had backed up from there. $5.99.99.
Okay.
Cody
know you were doing that?
Yeah.
He said it's okay to do that?
He said to use this to, like, survive until things can get figured out. Because he knows that I only have, you know, a few $100s in my name.
He told you that night that you
right.
could use his card and pay off what needed to be paid off?
He said to use it for, like, necessity.
Did he give it to you?
Yes.
He gave it to you, so here, take this and just do whatever. But that was normal for him, though. He was footing most of your bills.
Right.
Right. Okay.
He explained that he used Cody's debit card to pay one of his bills. He claims that it was a bill from the Camgirl site that had been backed up. So he's been kicked out of his house and has almost no money to his name, but paying off a bill to a Camgirl site is top priority? No. What really happened is that Grant used Cody's debit card to buy more credits to pay to talk to Sylvie online the night he left his house.
Bro, I don't get it. Like, at a certain point, the Bulgarian woman should probably just be like, okay. I mean, I'm not blaming her at all, okay? Actually, fuck that. I am kind of blaming her. Like, if the family reaches out to you and is like, hey, this person is, like, literally stealing money from us to pay you, then she should probably just be like, okay, yeah, I will decline the payments. You know what I mean? It's just like, the girl this guy sent all this money to changed her name on the campsite and carried on acting like she never knew who he was or what he did and banned people that even remotely brought it up. Yeah, I mean, she's kind of a dick too, to be honest. And you guys know I love sex work. I'm pro sex work all the fucking way. And at first I was not going to defend her at all. Or at first I was going to defend her up to the point where the family reaches out to her. And anything beyond that point, you're kind of a fucking asshole, dude. You're literally an asshole. I mean, you are. You are a piece of shit if you do that. She's Bulgarian. This doesn't concern her. Listen, if I said some shit like that, you'd say that I am being racist towards Bulgarians as a fucking Ottoman Turk, okay? Just because she's in Bulgaria doesn't mean that she has no fucking soul, all right? He's DMing her, dude. He's like DMing her on Twitter, dude. $200,000 in 6 months, dude. What the fuck? Talk about goddamn Oilers, brother. Where my fucking Oilers at? Just kidding. It is top of the hour, however. Which means that, fuck the Oilers. This is a joke, but it is top of the hour, so there is an ad break coming right now. I missed it at 5 because I was too busy cooking up absolute fucking delicious, goody curry chicken in the kitchen. But, I'm going to run the ad break now. If you no longer want to see the ads, if you want an ad-free broadcasting experience, all you need to do is subscribe. But don't steal your fucking parents' credit card to do so. Okay? You psychos. You fucking sickos, you. You can subscribe for free with Amazon Prime, though. By connecting your Amazon Prime to your Twitch account, you get 1 free Prime subscription. That I don't really care about as much. If you're using your mommy's Amazon Prime, who cares? All right, here's the ad break now. He was a streamer, not a viewer? No, he claimed he was a streamer, but he never actually streamed, I don't think. He was just like...
The internet history on Grant's Microsoft Surface shows that he paid for tokens and then used the Camgirl site at about 3 o'clock in the morning on January 25th. At this point, Grant has been sitting in a room at the sheriff's department talking to investigators for over 2 hours, and he's not asked why he's there or if anything has happened to his family. Cody was described as an extremely dedicated worker. He was always at the hospital early, getting ready to take...
Cody seems like a fucking hero in this story, by the way. If he did stream, but it didn't go anywhere. He used to act as if he was big, though. Yeah. Show us the chicken, please. You know what? I often get fucking annoyed when you make this demand, but today I'm going to show you the chicken. This is the curry chicken.
I hate being a leftist. Call me.
This is the rice. Okay? There you go. I showed it to you. I hope you're happy.
Care of patients and talking with his colleagues about the day's plans. He had never missed a day of work and always stayed late when needed. The shifts for a nurse anesthetist were 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. They worked 16-hour days, and any hours worked after 12 hours were paid at double time, so people didn't regularly volunteer to leave. Cody worked with a man named Chris Sisko, who described their day at work on January 24th, 2019.
Our days are normally filled. They're very busy. But I do remember that that afternoon, it had kind of slowed down a little bit. And so what happens is there's 4 of us that are scheduled that 16-hour shift. And again, if it, for some reason, if it slows down in the afternoon, what we'll do is either we have to stay there on call, even though there's no cases going on, or if there's even sometimes no cases going on, sometimes the head anesthesiologist that's running the board for the day, who's in control of the board and of when we get to go and come, they will first ask us if there's any volunteers, if anybody wants to leave early. Well, that day I remember that none of us wanted to leave early. So instead of any volunteers, what will happen is we'll put all of our names in a hat and draw names out of a hat. and Cody's name came up first, and he was going to leave at like 9:30 that afternoon, and then since my name
That
was,
evening, afternoon or evening? You said afternoon.
yeah, 9:30 p.m.
Okay, go
Yes,
ahead,
sir.
I'm sorry.
Yep, 9:30 p.m. is when he was going to leave because we didn't need him, and then I would stay until 11 to cover until the night guy came in to cover the night shift.
It was slow and Cody was picked to leave first, but he actually left a little early. Chris described Cody wandering off to make a phone call, so he decided to sit
I don't like that they don't show like the murder details first. It annoys me a little bit. Am I right? I feel like the storytelling would be a little bit better if we knew what the fuck was going on, you know? I don't like the mystery. I want to know.
down and have some lunch.
I mean, it's
At
really
about
interesting. This one is
9:15,
really
Cody
interesting
popped
because
his
it's
head in
like
the
Twitch
door and
guy
said he was
who's
going
like a
to
fucking simp, you know what I mean? Like, and he's like a psycho. But
leave. He told Chris that he'd see him in the morning since they both had another shift together. Chris said that the next day he clocked into the hospital at 6:19 a.m. They had to be there by 7 a.m., but were allowed to clock in up to an hour early. He said that Cody would normally already be on site by the time he got there, but that day he wasn't.
When I first got in, I had clocked in at my where we clock in at, and you walk right by that, and there's the surgery OR board where you can see where your case assignment is for the day. I had ran into a colleague of ours that typically works overnight, and she had said, Cody's not here. I haven't seen him yet. He's not in pre-op. Have you heard from him? And of course I was like, no, I just got here. I haven't heard from him yet.
Can I get a piece of chicken?
And
bacon?
so I went about, the next couple minutes. I went to pre-op just to see for myself, to see if he was there, and he wasn't there. So I looked at whatever room he was supposed to be in, and he wasn't in there. So then I ran into the colleague again, and she had expressed like a little bit more concern this time. And
My man missed the
so I
mark
said,
on
well,
the
why don't I
YouTube
just
time
try
I
to
should have
call
hit
him or
them
text
with.
him? So
Concept to serial
I tried to
killer.
text him. And I know that when Cody has an iPhone like I do, and I know that when you have the iMessage, that
Cody was
when
literally
you send
a
text
king
message,
among men.
Typically it goes through in blue, which means that the phone received the text message. And so when I text him, hey, where are you? It went through just green, like the phone didn't receive the text message, like it's either out of service or it's dead.
Had that ever happened before?
No, sir. Cody always had his.
He's an extreme enabler? How was he a fucking enabler? He didn't know what the fuck was going on. What are you talking about? He's an enabler.
No, Cody always had his phone on. He always had a charger on him. He always had it clipped to him. If I ever, throughout the day, if I had a question about anything, I knew that if I shot Cody a text, he would text me right back with.
No, he didn't know up until like Japan and shit. The mom. If there's anyone who's an enabler, it's the fucking mom, dude.
Advice or whatever. So then when it went through green, it was concerning. So I thought, well, maybe I'll just try to give him a buzz. So I tried to call the phone, and it went, rang a couple times and went straight to voicemail.
To explain to anyone who hasn't used an iPhone, if you send a text from one iPhone to another, it will actually use the Apple software iMessage, which is now just called Messages. The same text will also pop up on your computer if you use a Mac. The text bubble in the app will be green when you're texting through Messages. If you text a non-iPhone, it will just send it as a standard SMS, and the text bubble will be blue. At the same
How the fuck does this dude not know? I love that he wanted to explain
Love you
something
so
so
much, Chris,
simple,
and keep it
a
up,
concept that
Hassel.
like most people who have Androids know, and then he ended up failing.
same time, if an iPhone user texts another iPhone user and the phone is off or it's out of service, the text bubble will appear blue because the iPhone sending the message can't confirm that the recipient is using the message's service. Chris made a few other calls and nobody had heard from Cody, and since it was now past 7 a.m., Chris called 911 and asked if they would perform a welfare or wellness check. Seminole County Sheriff's Deputy Todd Motor said,
Yes, I'm still mad. I'm literally still mad he said Twitch streamers are fucking losers.
arrived at the Amato home at about 9 a.m. He knocked on the door, pounded on windows, called out Cody's name, and even used the air horn on his sheriff's vehicle, which was a Ford F-150. He called Cody's cell phone, Chad's cell phone, and Margaret's cell phone, but got no answer. Cody's car was in the driveway, so Deputy Motor
Wait, in America they give sheriffs Ford F-150s? What the fuck?
and believed there was cause to enter the home. After getting permission from a supervisor and waiting for backup to arrive, he used a knife to jimmy open the deadbolt on the back door. There was a large cabinet in front of the door, and they had to push it out of the way. It's unclear why the cabinet was in front of the door. Sometimes people will put something like that in front of a door they never use. But I also noticed in the deputy's body cam footage that the windows were covered with paper. It's never discussed anywhere. Once inside, they found the bodies of Chad, Margaret, and
It's blurred, but I'm gonna hide it regardless.
Cody Amato. All three had been killed with gunshot wounds to the head. Investigators believe that Margaret was shot first.
There were gunshot wounds identified on her face and head. And of note, on the left occipital scalp, which is the back of the head on the left side, there was an oval gunshot wound entrance.
Did you observe an exit wound?
Yes, and then so the
I forgot that it's still on camera, sorry.
other wound on the right cheek was a exit wound.
Margaret had been sitting at her computer and someone came up behind her and shot her in the back of the head.
This is insane, dude. You can't really tell, but it's blurry, but oh my fucking god. Like, he literally murdered this person on... What I'm going to describe to you is basically what it is, right? What happened in front of me. He's paying for attention just like people pay you for a fake friendship, Hassan. Oh my god. Is this dude alright? Dude, should I ban you? People pretend to be your friend and make feel part of a group for money is shitty. Twitch streamers, all of them. Hashtag free Britney. You're going to be able to afford a one-way ticket to the Musk's Cuck Farm on Mars. Is on. Shut the fuck up. Women on easy mode. Women on easy mode. He's paying for attention, just like people pay you for a fake friendship. Hey, man. I really do hope you get help. Like, it seems like you have some serious issues. Content monkey. Oh, this guy's been spamming this for a while, dude. Twitch streamers, all of them. The whole thing is predatory. Wow. Women on easy mode only because of fucking men like you, to be honest. I'm gonna keep it buck 50 with you, sir. Like, because you're such a fucking weirdo dweeb lord that any like above average looking dude who isn't a complete psychopath immediately at first sight is seen as like a gem. So I guess thank you for that. And here, that's, you can't really see, but like I was saying, it's she was sitting on her desk.
The last activity on the computer was at 4:44 p.m., January 24th. It was believed that Chad was killed after he got home from work at about 5:30.
So beginning on the back of the right ear, there's a gunshot wound entrance. And this one was associated with some kind of abrasions on the back of the ear. And it was focally lacerated, or it was the skin was torn. And I noticed that it went through the ear and then it re-entered through the tragus, which is an area that's commonly pierced by some people of the ear, and it re-enters into the cranial cavity and then exits on the right forehead. So it was one wound track with multiple different entrances, exits, and then re-entries and re-exits. That one involved the skin and soft tissue in the area. It involved the temporal bone of the skull. It goes through the right frontal lobe of the brain. It fractures the right frontal bone of the skull.
And tell the jury the direction of that particular bullet.
And that wound course was from back to front, and it's from right to left and upwards.
The first shot to the back of Chad's head did not immediately kill him.
When I first saw Chad's body in the kitchen, I asked the investigators if he had been moved. It was my...
Why are you not showing censored images? I just want to be extra safe. Like, obviously it's all censored, so it's still fine. I just still want to,
instinct that he was not in the correct position or in the position that he had died in. Based on my training and experience, his taking in the entire crime scene, the blood patterns, the
it's like 33, 40.
movement in the blood in the kitchen, it seemed that he was not in the same positioning as he would have been at the time he died.
And I'm going to show you again, states 41. Can you please point out to the jury what specifically led you to believe he was moved?
Well, initially, when we arrived at the scene, we knew that there were 2 cartridge cases in the kitchen. However, we only saw the 1 bullet hole in the top portion of the kitchen cabinet. And that lined up with the blood pool on this side of the kitchen island, so the right side in this photograph. So we assumed, or I assumed, that that shot caused him to fall down. He bled. And then you can see these drops of blood. Everybody's cut themselves and dripped blood. And some movement in the blood. And these palm prints. So it appeared that he was face down and possibly crawling around the kitchen floor. And then he ended up on this side where he bled more and died. So if somebody's crawling around and they just bleed out and die, you would assume that they would be face down.
The evidence showed that Chad was shot in the back of the head. He crawled across the kitchen floor and was shot a second time in the back of the head, but he was face up when deputies found his body. It's believed that Chad was rolled over so that whoever shot him could clip a gun holster to his belt. Christine Snyder, who's the crime scene supervisor.
Oh, that makes sense. I was like, why the fuck does he have a gun holster on his belt?
For the Seminole County Sheriff's Department, explained why the holster was unusual.
The firearm was inside of a holster, which you can see on the screen. The holster had a metal clip, which attached it to the belt. However, it was placed between the pants and the belt, which would make it unstable. The metal clip was on the outside across the belt, and the holster was inside of the belt between the pants and the belt. The gun itself was placed inside of the holster, and it was in this position on his body.
Grant planted the guns on his brother and father, make it look like a murder-suicide. There's blood splatter under the holster, which points to it that it was added the body moved after death.
Which was strange because we learned from his son Jason that he was right-handed. So if you're holding or if you're carrying a firearm and you want to draw it quickly, you're going to grab it here. And in this case, the grip isn't in the right location. So if somebody was carrying the firearm in this manner, they would most likely be left-handed, and they would have to do a cross draw, where they pull it out.
Now, why would that be a spoiler? It's literally her explaining. It's additional detail on exactly the moment that she's
This way.
explaining.
This is not a very common way to carry a firearm because it's a little bit harder to get to. It takes longer to pull it out. And I've heard of people who are left-handed who shoot right-handed, but it's very not as common for a right-handed person to shoot with their left hand. So normally, if you're carrying a firearm, you would probably put it inside of your pants for stability, especially a large gun like this, and he's a smaller individual. And you would have the grip towards the side. So then you can grab it quickly and pull it out. If you were carrying it the way that he has it, and you're right-handed, you would have to pull it out awkwardly, point it at yourself, and then point it towards somebody to fire it, which just doesn't make any sense. If you were right-handed and you were doing a cross draw, you would carry it on the other side and pull it out this way. But the only way that this is strange.
I think some of you have actual mommy issues and definitely women issues. You see one fucking specialist with big boobs and you're like losing your mind. Jesus Christ, dude. Chill the fuck out, chat.
For a right-handed person to carry it this way.
Not only was the position of the
My man literally said, I wish I was that gun. What does that even mean? Think it through. What does that mean? Like, do you wish you were, like, stuck on her belt or something?
holster odd, but the fact that Chad had clearly crawled through blood, but the holster was perfectly clean, showed that the holster was placed on the body after the fact. The crime scene analyst also found a drop of blood on Chad's pants under the holster. Someone was trying to make it look like Chad had a gun on him prior to his death. Investigators believe Cody was the last to be shot.
So on the right cheek, there's a gunshot wound entrance, and that wound involved the skin, the soft tissue in the area, the right maxillary bone of the face, the right sphenoid bone of the skull. It crosses the midline and involves...
You can't even fucking see blood, you idiots. It's completely censored, but I just still don't want to show it to you.
the brainstem, and it continued to involve the left cerebellar hemisphere of the brain and the left occipital bone of the skull.
Why is this motherfucker always eating? Good question. Maybe it's because you've been here since the election, okay? And you only come in here to react either when there's like a big news story that's happening and you want like the main political commentator's reaction, or because you come in here once a day when I end up eating food, because I intermittent fast and I eat at the same time every single day. It also happens to be at the same time that I'm watching, you know, bubblegum style bullshit react videos. Yeah, I stream approximately 8 hours on the minimum every single fucking day. Precisely why I have to eat at a certain hour. How about you shut the fuck up about when I eat? Yeah, GG boys it is. Makes me so fucking annoyed whenever people are like, oh, you're constantly eating, you're constantly eating, you're constantly eating. I'm a fucking human being. I stream 8 hours a day and I eat at the same hour. The issue is you always come in at the same hour, so you're like, oh, he's always eating. No. It's because you came at the same hour because you saw that I was reacting to fucking murder videos.
And finally, on the back of the
Fuck,
head,
I'm so hot.
There was a gunshot wound exit.
Cody's body was found just inside the door that came into the house from the garage. He was still in his work scrubs and had the backpack he took with him to work. It appeared as if Cody was shot in the face the minute he walked in the door. Near Cody's body was one of the 9mm guns that he owned. The question became whether Cody had killed his parents and then himself. There were 4 shell casings collected from the scene, which matched the amount of times the victims had been shot. Bullets collected from the scene were sent to the forensics lab for comparison, but strangely, the bullets were found to not have come from the shell casings. The shell casings had been fired from Cody's gun, but the bullets did not match the rifling of the same gun. Also, investigators found no gunshot residue on Cody's hands, and there was no stippling on the bullet wound to his face. Stippling is when the skin gets burned by gunpowder when a gun is discharged close to the skin. The lack of stippling meant that the gun was fired from at least 3 feet away, not something that Cody could have done himself. So someone managed to get into the house without any signs of forced entry, shot all 3 family members, and attempted to make it look like a murder-suicide. The absence of Grant from the scene made him a prime suspect.
Yeah, I wonder who it could have been.
Jason was also a suspect, but was quickly cleared. Crime.
Okay, to be fair, the justice system is more honest than I. And the reason why I say this is because if I saw this man with that haircut, that's an instant vibe check failure. I'm sorry, he's going to jail just to be safe. And I say this as someone who also has done that haircut. Okay? And I would throw myself in jail if I saw myself in a court case with that haircut. Sorry. Just the truth. That's my haircut, dog. I'm going to jail, is what I have to say here. As someone who also used to have this haircut.
Crime scene analysts went to Jason's employer and searched him and his car. Then they searched his house. He had no injuries, and they found no blood or weapons anywhere. He also had an alibi, as he was out to dinner with his girlfriend and her daughters at the time authorities believed the crimes were committed. The morning of January 26, 2019, Grant woke up at the Doubletree Hotel and walked outside to get a bottle of water from his car. There were sheriffs outside who asked him to come to the sheriff's office and answer some questions. From there, Grant sat in an interview room for more than 2 hours, telling investigators all about his life and his relationship with his family without ever asking why he was there. The detectives finally tell him that something happened at his house, and he starts changing his story.
When I had come back that other time, I crossed in front of the dude's fence, the red blinking lights ones.
What time was that?
I can't remember.
That was Friday during the day, when you said you were going to come back.
Right, yeah.
Okay. But it was after you did your interview.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you did that, you would have seen something, and there would be something out of the ordinary that you would have seen. If you passed that, you passed something out of the ordinary. What was it?
I saw, like, a news van.
17 months.
These are the worst kinds of motherfuckers because, like, their family obviously cares about them. They have enough money to try to help him. And he's still relentless. Like, he's like, nah, fuck that. Like, I'd rather reveal my life story to a fucking cop after I've done murder than to a goddamn therapist at an addiction facility.
And then, I don't think there might have been like a cop car. There was like traffic being.
Human nature. Human nature. What do people do when I go back to my old neighborhoods? And I've lived a couple places in Central Florida in the 23 years I've been here. I see something major going on. I get on my phone or I get on my computer. So I look. I wonder what's happened by my neighborhood. And look.
Did that even spark your attention?
There's a digital footprint of where I went on my phone. This right here phone, they can tell me I looked at these maps on my phone because it's on there.
Right.
The memory's there. You can't delete it. You can't. You came back to the neighborhood. You saw some things that are really out of the ordinary.
Right.
And I don't believe for a second that you thought that I'm not going to look what's going on. What happened to my neighborhood?
I mean, I didn't search it up on anything, on any of the devices that I have.
Bro, how'd this guy not make it on Twitch? He's bald already. You know what I'm saying?
Did you search it somewhere else?
On, when I had gone to the Panera, I searched for, like, top stories.
Bald, addicted to e-girls. Goes on murderous rampage. This is Twitch trifecta.
Oviedo or Chuliota or something like that.
And found what?
And then I saw that there was, it was like just the initial, like it had like a video, but I didn't listen to the video, but it had just an initial thing of that there was shootings in Salton Circle. But it didn't say like the address or who was involved. It was just like this is the preliminary.
Was that on one of the news stations?
Um,
what was the site you searched?
I honestly can't remember.
I
think it was one of the Weshes, but.
And you saw the story, because we've seen the same stories. You've seen the story. Because there's a thing that will tell me how long of the time you spent on that.
Right.
You saw what happened.
Yeah, I was on there for like 20 seconds.
Well, what was your thoughts when you reviewed this story?
I was freaking out, and I was just like blank. I didn't know what to do.
He changes his story within that clip alone. He claims that he saw a news van in his neighborhood, but that he didn't.
It's blowing my brain that it's just, he looks so much like Stephen Miller, dude. Crazy.
Search for what happened. Then he immediately says he did search, but he didn't read the story. He was freaking out about it, but spent more than 2 hours at the sheriff's office and never brought it up. They finally tell him his family is dead.
Wait, JCS has a 2-hour video on this? And it's one of his best? Oh my God, why didn't you send this to me? Bro. I know someone said it and I read it in the chat and then they never fucking told me anything else.
They ask him what he thought happened in the home.
So if anything happened in the home, to bring law enforcement there, what would you think happened?
That there was a shooting.
Between whom?
I don't know. Between Cody and my dad.
And why would you think that?
To protect me, or to help me, or to do something with me.
Grant told authorities multiple times up until this point that Cody told him, quote, he would take care of it, end quote. Grant staged the scene and then tried to plant the seed that Cody was going.
Dude. What a fucking demon, dude. I mean, he looks the part. But like, imagine placing the blame on the one
9 months,
person.
congrats, it's an
I mean,
A.
your entire family
Awesome.
looked out for you. You sick freak. And then you thank them by murdering them. But the worst part of that entire murder,
Appreciate
that
you.
entire
Chase
murder
ass.
portrait that you wanted to put together was that you literally put the blame on fucking Cody and tried to use his love for you as a way to, like, add additional evidence that it was him who did this.
Going to kill their parents to protect him. They tell him that they know that Cody didn't shoot anybody. The evidence shows that nobody in the house fired a weapon.
I mean, he has gamer posture too, big time. So he's got it all.
She never held a gun. She didn't have a gun that night. Fact. He never fired a gun. Fact. He never fired a gun. Never did. This is the person right here, Mom, who always stuck up for you. Something happened so bad that caused her death, your dad's death, and Cody. And I'll tell you just about how it happened. 1, 2, 3. Based on evidence. Based on evidence. I know he did not shoot your mom. I know he didn't shoot your dad. I know he didn't shoot himself. And I know from video surveillance camera in the neighborhood, nobody else came to that house. I know. I can account for everybody that went to the house. I know.
So tell us what happened.
I know it. Listen to me. Hey, I know. Video surveillance tells me everything that happened this night. I'm telling you. Of people that.
That's a power move. He's got him so fucking dead to rights, he's just like leaning in and physically touching him.
That you'd be surprised who in your neighborhood has video. And I know that there's only 4 people at this house during this time. 1, 2, 3, 4.
They try to get him to confess, but he maintains his innocence. They take a little break, and when they come back, Grant's story has changed some more. Now Grant said that he was still home when Cody got home from work, and that Cody began arguing with their father. It didn't help because Grant still had to leave.
And then, so is it true that you still met Cody up the block, or was that?
No.
So you didn't meet him up the block? So why did you tell us that?
I don't know.
I don't know. I was talking to detectives about a very specific part of my day, and I just made a bunch of it up. Why the hell not? Grant's clothes are taken to be analyzed by forensics, and he's given some other clothes to wear. He asked to talk to his older brother Jason, and Jason came down to the sheriff's office to talk to him.
I'm sorry. I don't believe you. And I probably will have resentment for the...
Holy shit, you found Cody's Instagram. God damn. That's real sad, dude. He went to the deer park in Nara. Like, he's got all the photos from Japan, their Japan trip. Pretty much the last time he posted was, like, from the Japan trip. And then another PC build with no water loop this time for now. VR project underway, PC gaming. Back in January 11th, 2019. That's real sad. I mean, these people are definitely Twitch watchers too, like straight up.
the rest of my life, whether you did it or you didn't do it, but I need closure. I need to know what happened to my mother, my father, and my brother Cody. Because I wasn't there to fucking help. And that hurts me. That hurts me a lot, man. I may not have been able...
Omni Valor has a really important message for all of chat to hear. Chat, talk to someone. Don't murder your family, lol. That's a really important message that people should hear, I think. Thank you, Omni Valor, for that take. It was just one I could not have thought of myself, so thank you.
Able to stop you. You probably may have hurt me too. But at least I would have known what happened. And now I'm in fucking who knows what now. I'm lost. And it scares me that you want to leave here and not face what happened. Because you're putting my life at risk then. You're putting Donna's life at risk, Grandma's life. How do we know what you're going to do?
Clearly, Grant hasn't fooled him. The sheriffs put Grant up at a different hotel since his room at the Doubletree has been searched and his property has been seized. In the room, they found a pair of gloves that tested positive for gunshot residue.
Okay, that's it. It's GG's. I mean, Jesus Christ. You don't need any additional info there.
On the outside. They find the information on his tablet that he had purchased more tokens with Cody's debit card in order to talk to Sylvie. The same card that Grant claimed that Cody gave him, but it's clear that Grant took it from his brother after he shot him in the face. When they searched Grant's computer, they found pictures of credit cards that belonged to his parents, his grandparents, an uncle, and one of his cousins. He was willing to steal from anybody in order to talk to a woman that he thought was having a personal relationship with him. People don't make you...
Dude, that's crazy, dude. I don't know how those websites work. I guess like there's no way that she could have like personally banned him, right? Imagine you kill your family and you can only think about an e-girl. Yeah, he like killed his fucking family so he could freely talk to a fucking e-girl until the credit card just completely ran out. He wasn't even thinking at that point. No, you can ban people on those sites. Dude, if there was a fucking psycho here, I mean, look, I ban people for way less. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ban people for, like, saying the wrong thing in the chat at the wrong time. If I knew that there was, like, someone who was so obsessive that they're, like, wasting so much money here, I would ban the living shit out of them and then go to Twitch to get them to be IP banned. I mean, I just banned 2 people for talking about how I eat food. I think people need to be way, way, way more trigger happy with their bans. It's crazy. She got 200K off him in months. The cheddar was good, dude. Dude, there is no amount of cheddar to be such a fucking piece of shit like that, dude. I mean, the 200K, you didn't know. You don't know his financial situation. He lies to you. He says he's a fucking rich Twitch streamer, whatever. Okay? I'm going to be as charitable as possible. I'm going to be as charitable as possible and say that she did not know his financial predicament. Okay? But once the fucking dad reaches out and says, yo, this person is literally like, he's like stealing from us. He's stealing from us to pay for a Twitch subscription at the Hasanabi broadcast because the top of the hour ad break is coming and he doesn't want to watch the fucking 60-second ad.
Don't steal money for donating.
And he also,
to you.
I don't know, maybe wants to support him or something. Okay? That was the best segue I've ever done. I think I should quit. I should quit after that one. It was literally the best segue I've ever done on this broadcast. Straight up. On a cap. On a book. Whatever the fuck. On a stack. That was so good. Yeah. Top of the hour. There's, you know, your family's pulling you aside and saying, hey, listen, like, you got to stop subscribing for $5 to the Hasanabi broadcast when you can subscribe for free with a Twitch Prime. Here, take this Amazon Prime account and connect it to your Twitch account and use the one free Prime subscription that you get a month on a Hasanabi broadcast so you don't have to see the ads anymore. You watch it for like 10 hours a day. You know, you might as well do that. Or if you don't want to do that, then you can just, you know, use a ad blocker or a VPN. Another thing you can do, you know. But anyway, here's the ad break now. Dude, that was an all-time great. I think that broke a couple chatters' brains, to be honest. Thank you, Nevastain, for the 5 2 gift subs. Wow, instead of paying $5 a month to get ignored by Hasanabi, I get ignored by Hasanabi for free? Exactly. It's funny because people will say like, dude, you're doing the exact same thing that this cam girl's doing. You're providing a friendship. When, if you've been in here for longer than an hour, you know I will never, ever read your sub. Like, ever, dude. Okay? So if you think that, like, this is a token for you and I to have a conversation with, you are out of your fucking mind. Now, having said that, I also try to democratize this situation by reading chat aggressively. I'll sub if you read it. Man, shut the fuck up. Too late. You've already fucking subbed, and I didn't read it. 13 months, not a single comment read? Yeah, well, I just read that, so shut up. If you say something funny, I will read it. Say something annoying, I will try to avoid it, but sometimes I will read it.
You pay to talk to them when they really want to have a personal relationship.
Just stop saying something funny. Actually, be funny. Be funny. Be funny. Writing something funny is not what I mean.
With you. The search of his computer also included logs that a USB drive had been plugged in at 11:32 p.m. on January 24th and unplugged at 12:27 a.m. on January 25th. They showed that Chad's iPhone had been plugged into Grant's computer at 11:39 p.m. on January 24th. It was unable to connect to the computer because it would have needed prior permission, so it was unplugged. Then the phone was placed into recovery mode and plugged back into the computer at 11:43 p.m. the same night. There had been a search history on Grant's tablet about how to unlock an iPhone. The logs of Chad's iPhone showed that the USAA Bank app had been unlocked using a fingerprint at 12:08 a.m. on January 25th.
No.
The defense actually brought this up, thinking it was a way to show that Chad could have still been alive after investigators theorized that they had been killed.
Dude, are you fucking kidding me, dude? Yo, he had the worst. Yo, look at my lawyer, dog. I'm going to jail is literally this, okay? If that is your defense, dude, you are so fucked. You actually,
You can
what
also
the
get
fuck?
Twitch Turbo to disable ads on all channels.
What a stupid way to defend. Actually, like the dumbest defense of all time.
I think what they really showed was that Grant had pressed his dead father's finger against the phone so he could log into his bank app. One thing that investigators didn't find was any evidence that Grant looked up news about what had happened in his neighborhood. One of the only things he said that was true was that he didn't look up the news after seeing the news van in his neighborhood. He only said he did because he thought it would make him seem less guilty. Investigators found a note in Grant's car that
he cleaned and used his dad's thumb to add himself to the bank account so he could send her $600 after he had murdered them. Dude, actually, Volcano, dude. What a fucking low-life scumbag, dude.
You didn't read this.
What a low-life scumbag piece of shit.
Lol.
It read as if Cody had written it. It said, "Grant, I'll take care of all your problems. I just need you back. I can't live without you. I said I'd take care of all your problems at the house, and I have. No one will bother you again regarding this. Just please come home. I can't take this again. If you think I'm part of the problem here, then I've really lost you, and I can't take that loss after everything." When investigators asked Grant about the note, he claimed that he had written the note to memorialize what Cody had said to him the last time they talked. He was trying to make it sound like Cody had taken care of his problems, aka killed his parents, and that he couldn't do it again, aka killed himself. Authorities never found the gun that actually fired the bullets that killed the Amatos, but not long before the trial began, Blake Turpin, a friend of Grant and Cody's, made a discovery.
In the end of May, I stopped a full-time position and was taking a little sabbatical, doing contract work. A couple weeks in, I got antsy and started doing some spring cleaning.
Motherfucker's falling asleep in the background, dude. He's literally throwing up resident sleepers, dude. Look at this.
I'm gonna come.
Cody was a Dr. Lupo Ninja Summit Ninja fan? Wait, really? Did you look his Instagram up to see who he was following?
Unionized chat.
Yo, I can't believe it's literally Boris Johnson and Steve Miller, dude.
I went into the closet and was getting rid of some older stuff. And when I picked up the gun boxes, I noticed that one was significantly lighter than it should be. I opened it up and noticed the firearm and one of the two magazines it came with were missing.
Now, did you happen to notice if any ammunition was missing?
I did. As I continued to go through the closet, I noticed the basket. Like I said, when you buy range ammo, it tends to do bulk. So usually I buy 1,000 rounds, and they come in little sealed bags.
Notice how everyone in this story owns a weapon, by the way.
Any ad, but only 10/10 segues, dankies, easy clap.
What the fuck is going on, dude? Why does everyone have a gun? Like, literally every person in the story, mom, dad, dog has a fucking gun. What the hell is going on in Florida, 'dude? Hey, we love our gun so much, we bought our gun a separate gun. Brother, I feel safe, don't you?
One of those bags had been kind of picked open, and I went through and double checked, and there were 94 out of the 100 rounds still in the bag. I checked the whole closet, moved the shelf under it, didn't see anything lying on the floor.
But just so we're clear, the bags themselves, they're not like Ziploc. Are they Ziploc bags?
No, they're kind of like heat sealed, closed.
In order to open it, you actually have to tear the...
Correct.
And throughout your years and times you've been shooting, have you ever yourself tore a bag open partially like that and taken out just a handful of bullets?
No, the ammo that I buy that comes in those bags is, like I said, just cheap, ranged, repackaged ammo. So when I go to the range, I would take the little ammo can, which is, the little bucket, and if I needed to put more, I'd open the bag, dump the whole thing in. I do have a concealed carry gun, but I don't load it.
Dude, America is such a strange country, dude. It really is. Like, everybody has a gun, and it's just totally seen as like a normal thing. It is actually so wild. Like, yeah, I buy my ammo in bulk, because I love my guns. It's like, oh, okay, that's sick, dude. Very normal stuff. But it's not. Americans cannot comprehend a world where, like, that description is not normal. So, like, buy ammo in bulk. And I've been living here for so long that it didn't even catch me off guard at first. Like, I've forgotten a world where, like, every person isn't armed to the fucking gills and doesn't have, like, boxes and boxes of bullets and shit.
With the range ammo, I have a different, nicer bullet that goes in that one.
He had discovered that the gun and ammo was missing at about 10 p.m. and reported it to the police the following morning. When authorities learned of the missing gun, they questioned Blake, and he said that only one person had been alone in his bedroom recently.
When we came back from dinner, we had gone out to a Japanese restaurant, and on the way back, Jericho and Grant both had indicated they needed to use the restroom. Jericho needed to do something a little more substantial, so I asked him to use the hallway bathroom. Grant, I told him he could go on back to my room and use the restroom.
So, where is the restroom in relation to your room and closet in your home?
Yep, if you walk in the door to my room, it's just a square. It's the front left corner, if you would turn.
What a stupid animated emote.
Right immediately. The next thing you'd find is the closet door, and just past that is the bathroom.
And so in order to go to the bathroom, one would have to enter your room.
Correct.
Where was the Jericho 9mm stored in your closet?
Again, on the shelving unit I have up there, I have 3 different gun boxes, and it would be inside of the box that it came in.
Now, how long can you estimate that the defendant was up in the area of your room?
I would say no more than 10 minutes. I was playing the game out front with Cody.
And to your knowledge, was anyone else up in your room other than Grant, other than Mr. Amato?
No, that's pretty rare. I don't usually send people back there. I also have a pit bull, and I tend to keep my door shut when we're home and when I'm not home, because I don't like him in there crawling around on the bed.
It's believed that Grant saw an opportunity to take a gun from Blake's closet, and that's the gun that he used to kill his family. That gun has never been recovered. During the trial, one of the Amato's neighbors, Jennifer Sawyer, said that sometime on the night of January 24th, at maybe 8:30 or 9:30 p.m., she heard gunshots. She said she didn't remember exactly how many.
What is the Jericho? What does that gun look like?
6 months, Pog.
Like, what does he say it was? It was a Jericho Sawyer? It's a shitty handgun, standard model. What does it look like? I want to see what it looks like.
12 months pog.
It was in Cowboy Bebop. It's shitty. It's the Israeli sidearm. Oh, are you? Oh, that's the friend's name. Fuck. What was his? I thought they said that the gun's name was Jericho. Wait, are you sure? His brother's Twitch was the same Insta